Was that in the belly of a dragon or something? How do dragon eggs work? Okay, then. He had more than just a tongue. Well, there's the tongue. Go and pull it. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Afan, and today we're going to watch some House of the Dragon. We're in Season 1, Episode 8. This one's called... Actually, I don't know what it's called. I should know what it's called. It's called The Lord of the Tides. Now then, before we jump into this episode, if you want to see the full-length reaction to this and all the other episodes and some of the other shows that I'm doing and movies as well, they're available on my Patreon. Also, these videos that go on YouTube go up early. You go up first on Patreon, so if you want to see it before everybody else, you can. On my Patreon, link in the description. Thank you so much for supporting me all this time. Patrons, YouTube members, subscribers, everyone, really. All right, now then, last episode was a pretty interesting one. A lot happened. Alicent went full mad king Targaryen, mad queen. Aemon got himself a dinosaur. A dragon. What? Dinosaur? Kind of the same. A dragon, but not just a dragon. He got Vhagar, the biggest, baddest bitch of them all. Wow. He played his hand really well, didn't he? And Otto is really proud of him for that. The rumors are about the strong boys are no longer really rumors. They are just accepted as truths. While Viserys did say if someone comments on that, he will have their tongue. You know, I don't think that's going to stop anyone from talking about it behind his back, at least. You know, maybe not in front of him, but behind him for sure. I said this in the last one as well. I love the whole funeral sequence. I thought that was amazingly well done. There was a lot of politicking going on, as well as the fact that this person who passed away had a huge impact on a lot of people. That is sometimes missing from shows and movies. You know, you see funerals and you see a lot of people, but you just see one or two people. They're the ones that are really like affected by it. Whereas here in this one, they really took their time with it and they went to each and every character and showed how much it impacted each one of them, you know, and how it sort of changes the dynamics as well between the families and the relationships and stuff like that. Speaking of relationship, we got a new one. Uncle and niece. Yeah. I wonder if the searches for those kinds of videos have gone up since that episode has gone up. I don't know. We'll have to look into that one. But anyways, yeah. Rhaenyra and Daemon are now married, and they made an elaborate plan along with Laenor for Laenor to get out and just be happy, just live his life, which I'm kind of happy about. I mean, I'm sad that he has to leave his family. It is an unfair world. It is a brutal world. It is a world where duty comes first, Laenor never comes. Not never, but not at least when he is required to. So, him going away, I do feel bad for him because he just lost his sister and now he has to lose the rest of his family as well. And he did come across as a genuinely caring person, but it's not really his fault, is it, that he was born that way? So him leaving, I was kind of happy. At the same time, I was kind of like, you leave your family. Maybe he'll come back later on, who knows. The family thinks, his parents think that he's dead though, and that's obviously going to be devastating, particularly for Rhaenys, because she never wanted any of this. She had a chance to become queen. She was ignored, and that's when she understood how it works and how it is, and she accepted, and she was like, you know what, I'm fine with it. All right, cool. I'm living a pretty comfortable life. I have everything I want. I have my family. Let's just live peacefully. But Corlys, on the other hand, had other ambitions and really pushed for, the throne. That was one of the reasons why Laenor and Rhaenyra got married. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how it's gonna go down. Their son, they think, just died, and literally on that same day, Rhaenyra gets married to her uncle. So they're definitely, and Rhaenyra mentioned it too, through a voiceover, that they're definitely going to blame her for his death. So how exactly is that going to work? I'm not entirely sure. And they had to bury one of their daughters, and now they have to bury they think it's their son. So I just feel bad for the parents, really. That's two kids losing in like 2 or 3 days, you know what I mean? That's just devastating. How is it all gonna unfold? I have no idea. So let's jump into episode 8 without any further ado. Here we go.
This secret, it's been passed from king to heir since Aegon's time. Now you must promise to carry
Aegon.
History does not remember blood. It remembers as names.
If every Targaryen names at least one of their child Aegon,
Everyone in the Red Keep to deny the truth. Our eyes can all
prophecy
The princess
will become true eventually, right?
spoiled.
Oh, Kristen. I hate him with a passion. Like, I get the other Alicent. Like, I get her. I don't like her, but I get her. I get her position. This dude.
You will die screaming in flames just as your father did. Bastards.
Aemon completely changed after he got the dragon.
There is a debt to be paid.
Alicent!
But now they see you as you
Oh, this was such a good scene, man. From both the sides.
For the first time, I see that you have the determination to win it.
Alicent talking about duty and loyalty, and then her reply back. And now they see. Oh, so well done, man. The dialogue. Mwah.
It's been near 6 years since I last saw my lord husband, Maester.
Okay, so it's been 6 years. A pretty big leap.
The wound was severe, much blood was lost, but the greater concern is the fever that followed.
Oh, he's still alive. Okay. I'm like, Corlys is dead. They lost their daughter, their son, and now husband.
But we must be honest with ourselves. We may greet his ship to find him gone. And who will take the driftwood throne?
My grandmother seems quite comfortable here.
Sea passes.
To Lucerys Velaryon, as is my lord husband's desire.
I am the sea snake's own blood. The closest...
Okay.
Be careful, good brother. None can take your words for treason.
I speak the truth, and you know it.
She does.
My brother cares only for the history books.
That is true. He said blood doesn't matter. Names do.
My cousin the king would have your tongue for this.
But it's not a king who sits the Iron Throne these days, good sister. It's a queen.
Alicent. Okay. So they're basically saying Alicent's making all the decisions, which is true, I guess, in some way. Her and Otto teaming up. The king is very weak, as we saw in the last episode. 6 years has passed, so I don't think he's getting any better. Or is he... Wait a minute, did that mean that he's dead? No, there's no way. They're not just gonna kill him like that with one dialogue. If they're gonna give that big of a funeral to Lena, surely Viserys deserves one too. Who's that? Is that Daemon? By the way, I was just thinking about it. If you think about it, right? Aemond and Daemon, they're like, it's like a, what's it called? Like an anagram when you scramble the letters or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you can make both the names from all the letters of each other. It's a dragon egg. Whoa. How? It is Daemon. How? Was that in the belly of a dragon or something? How do dragon eggs work? 3! That's 3 new dragons. Ayla.
The end. The mouth.
This is Jaceres? Jace. Yes. That's Lucerys. Luke.
Dranyot. Come on, Jace.
She... Okay, I don't...
Killed.
Felled. It is a related word. I don't...
If she's not, I apologize in advance. Is she pregnant?
Unless you're planning to depose your own mother, you have plenty of time to study.
Wow, the children are really taken after their father, huh?
Joffrey. Come.
Oh, that's Joff. No, Lucerys would obviously. Lucerys would be bigger than that. Come on now. He was bigger than that in the last episode. It's been 6 years. Of course he's going to be bigger than that.
Rhaenys' flames are called. Surely she cannot be planning to back him.
No, disagreements we may have had. She's not cruel. Stupid enough to do that.
Disagreements?
Hmm.
We had her son killed so that we might marry.
Yes. And yet she's taken Baylor to ward.
Mm-hmm.
His memory she honors. She has no love for us.
Doesn't matter. It's still...
Spread so far.
What choice do I have?
Because she's pregnant. Okay, oh, thank God. I'm a bit confused. Which one's older, Juarez or Lucerys? It's Juarez. I keep saying Juarez because it's Lucerys, you know what I mean?
Stone and heir to the Iron Throne, and her royal consort, Prince Daemon Targaryen.
That armor looked so similar to Kristen Cole's armor.
Welcome back, Princess.
Lord Caswell?
Ah, right. Okay, cool. I thought it was that guy. The 7-pointed star. I thought it was that guy,
I would say it's nice.
from the stairs.
You recognize it?
They've made some changes. Okay.
Continue to enjoy.
The faith's gonna play a part in this one, then they keep showing the stars.
Is contingent on the house.
There's a star again. Wow. Okay, cool.
Of which, and
there's the Eye of the King.
The Sea Snake has never formally named him as heir.
Ooh, wow.
We shall hear Princess Rhaenyra's petition along with those of the other claimants on the morrow.
Wow, okay.
A matter has arisen that requires your attention.
Whatever it is, Sir Eric, you need to wait.
I'm Eric, Your Grace.
Of course.
It's about the prince. There's been a delicate situation in his apartments.
Which prince? The prince that was promised? Aegon or Aemond? Oh, cobwebs. Come on. It's so elaborate, by the way. You sure Viserys is not Bran the Builder?
Father?
Wow. Oh my. How the... He's still alive. He's pretty much like a zombie.
Who goes there?
Father.
Oh, wow.
It's me. My king. Rhaenyra.
Doesn't even recognize her.
I'm here with Daemon.
Your brother.
Help me up.
Be careful you don't break something.
It's been so long.
Wow.
The Sea Snake has taken a grave wound in battle in the Stepstones.
You won that 4 years ago.
There is a petition to decide upon the succession of Driftmark and the heir to the Driftwood throne.
Listen to not. See to all that.
No, okay. Yeah, they definitely see.
You are to affirm your position for Lucerys, to be Corlys Velarion's successor.
Rhaenyra is like, come on, man.
There's someone.
Who's that?
Who is that?
And his hair's gold, finally.
This is Aegon.
Oh, there are two.
And this
is Viserys. Huh. Wow, I don't think Elson's going to be too happy about Aegon, that name. And there's a third. Oh, he's crying.
Fit for a king.
There's a third one on the way. It's in 6 years. 3 babies. Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, kids.
My tea.
This?
Yes.
Oh, he's lost so much weight. He can, like, see the bones and everything. What? It's not tea?
I brought her here immediately. She's seen no one else, you guys.
Oh, the situation with the prince. That's what this is?
It's Diana. If it please you.
If it doesn't, then what is it? Does everybody have, like, a backup name?
I put it on his table. When I turned, I didn't see him. I asked him to stop. Your guys, he did.
We didn't see him. You saw it.
You must believe me.
Pennywise was there. Yeah, that guy's out of control.
I know it wasn't your fault. I believe you.
You do?
I do.
And now you're sure you're gonna kill her?
But what I worry about...
Ooh, there it is. There's a butt.
If anyone else were to hear about this, and though I believe you were not to blame, others might not be so trusting.
Hmm.
I wasn't dreaming of anything another word to anyone. You swear on my life.
Hmm. There it is, on her life.
I know you won't.
Because you'll be dead.
For your troubles.
Oh. Oh, okay. Or...
The tea, Your Grace.
Of course.
It's best to be certain.
This is very interesting.
Aegon, get up!
Oh, nice shot.
Mother?
They say the sun never shines there. It just shined pretty good right there.
Just harmless fun. She didn't need to get upset about it.
Think of the shame on your wife. On
Your wife? Oh.
You keep carrying on like this, especially.
You got married to your sister already?
What is it today?
There you go. Deserves a bit more than that, honestly.
You are no son of mine.
I've done everything you've asked me to. And I try so hard, but it will never be enough for you or father.
Wow, what a victim, eh? You.
It's been so long since we were granted the joy of your presence.
Ooh, there's that joy.
They're not long enough to merit a greeting upon our arrival.
Pressing business, my love. What can either of us do?
Damon, man.
It is they who keep him addled on milk of the poppy while the...
There it is. All right, cool.
That would be mine. And the hands. But be assured the Father is just and commands me to forget the accusations you have held in this room today.
I love that dress she's wearing. Rhaenyra. Ooh. Why the looks? Well, I know why the looks, but...
Everyone's staring at us.
Yeah.
No one would question me being heir to Driftmark if I look more like Sir Laenor of Valera.
Yeah. Get some dye, bro. Dye your hair. Oh, that's Kristen? Ah, the man who never gets old. Whoa, who is... That's Aemond. Has it been 6 years or 60? This guy's a grown-ass man. By the way, he looks like the Witcher from the Witcher video games. Ooh, this guy's good. Who needs a second eye? Not Aemond.
You win in Tawny's in no time.
I don't give a shit about Tawny's.
Sea snakes. Wait, why is there the Hightower emblem on the armor? The sigil or whatever it's called.
He may yet live.
But we must be prepared if he does not.
The realm has enjoyed a long peace. A credit to the work of both Jaehaerys
and Viserys, yeah.
Will you want a child at the command of the greatest fleet in Westeros?
We must, of course, act in the interest of our subjects.
The next Lord of the Tides will be deeply in your debt, Your Grace.
That little look like, that's a me, Mario.
Raised her admirably.
You honor me, Princess.
Might I speak to the princess alone, Rhaena? Princess?
Everyone's a princess here.
Set by the Queen in the hand, I'd wager, to proclaim my son illegitimate.
Yet you did worse than that with Laenor.
I loved your son. You may not believe it to be true, but I did.
Oh, I don't know if you loved him, but you definitely cared.
Nor was I complicit in it, I swear this to you.
What? Wasn't she, though?
Baela will be Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. Rhaena will rule in Driftmark and...
A generous offer, or a desperate one.
What does it matter?
You're right in this, at least. But tomorrow the Hightowers land their first blow. They force you to your knees, and I must stand alone. I love this show, man. This is everything Game of Thrones was, but better. And that's quite a statement, because Game of Thrones, especially season 1, holy. That was... that's some of the best TV I've ever seen.
The Song of Ice and Fire, do you believe it to be true?
I have the whole set, bro. It's true.
If you wish me to bear it, then defend me. And my children.
Wow. To see your father in such a condition. He did, by the way, mention or call Alicent Aemma in the last episode, which I did not catch first time viewing it. I did catch it in editing, but it was too late. Then the video is done, obviously. Oh my god.
I want to have supper, Otto. It is the morning, Your Grace. Tonight.
He's like, I'm gone, but I'm not that gone.
I want us to dine together.
And Viserys, he just wants his whole family together peacefully, in harmony and love, care. And there's the star again. He's lost a lot of weight. Ooh, yeah, he has.
Just arrange the supper.
Wow. Ooh, what a shot.
I speak with the king's voice on this and all other matters. The crown will now hear the petitions. Sir Vaymond of House Velaryon.
My queen.
I like how even the little things on the walls, engravements are dragons, like heads of the dragons. Right there.
You would not be so bold as to supplant its rightful heir. No, you only speak for yourself and for your own ambition.
You'll have chance to make your own petition, Princess Rhaenyra. Do Sir Vaymond the courtesy of allowing his to be heard.
What do you know of Velaryon blood, Princess? I could cut my veins and show it to you, and you still wouldn't recognize it.
She'll cut them for you. Go ahead, do it.
Of the survival of my house and my line above all, I humbly put myself before you as my brother's successor, the Lord of Driftmark and Lord of the Tides.
Lord of the Tides, there it is.
20 years ago in this fable.
It's Viserys himself.
King Viserys of House Targaryen, the first of his name.
Is he coming to defend her like she begged him to? I didn't even know he was listening or could understand.
The realm.
Wow, let's go. Come on. Bow before me, you little shits. I loved Robert, man. It's got the mask. Oh, the music's too good. Helena just... she's in her own world.
I will sit the throne today.
Come on, then. Let's go. I think this is good for an era. Not entirely sure, though. Oh, come on.
I said I'm fine.
Hey, Brewski. You've got this. Come on now. Oh, that's too good. This is gonna make me cry, I swear to God. Brothers. Oh, that made me really emotional, man. That was really heartwarming. Not gonna lie, that mask kind of reminds me of the sons with herpes.
Pass through Selenor to his true-born son, Lucerys Velaryon. His mind never changed, nor did my support of him.
Hey, let's go.
As a matter of fact, the Princess Rhaenyra has just informed me of her desire to marry her sons Jace and Luke to Lord Corlys's granddaughters, Baela and Rhaena.
Okay. I keep jacking off two dudes right here.
Agree.
Well, the matter is settled.
Aegon, he just doesn't give a shit, does he?
Prince Lucerys of House Velaryon is heir to Driftmark, the Driftwood throne, and the next Lord of the Tides.
Let's go.
Is my true-born grandson. And you, no more than the second son of Driftmark.
You may run your house as...
Wait, shouldn't they cut his tongue? Wasn't that like a law now?
I will not see it ended on the account of this.
What? Go on. Ooh, Damon. Ooh, Damon.
Her children are bastards!
Okay. He just broke the law.
She is.
And I keep calm. He just broke the law. Okay, then.
will have your tongue for that.
Okay, then. He had more than just a tongue. Well, there's the tongue. Go and pull it.
He can keep his tongue. Many.
Whoa, that's what I was talking about. You know? With Damon on her side.
I will not close my mind. I must put things right.
Ooh, the king is back. Let's go. Just checking off one dude now. The other one's getting jealous. Whoa, oh, that's... Oh, okay then. And right through his mouth. Well, yeah, there's the tongue. Dark sister, eh? That's that Valerian steel for you.
It is ill luck to look upon the face of death.
Which half of the face?
The stranger has visited me more times than I can count, Grand Maester.
The stranger from Rings of Power? Why are they cutting him open? That's quite a shot right there. Rhaenyra's, Alicent, and that picture in the middle.
How good it is to see you all tonight. Together. My grandsons, Jace and Luke, will marry their cousins, Baela and Rhaena, further strengthening the bond.
Yeah, they did like each other. That's good to see.
And their betrothed. Here, here.
Well done, Jace. You'll finally get to lie with a woman.
A future lord of the tides.
You do know how the act is done, I assume. At least in principle.
You can play the gesture if you wish, but hold your tongue before my betrothed.
Come on, Jace. Don't let him get to you. This guy is basically a zombie.
My own face is no longer a handsome one, if indeed it ever was.
Come on.
And your grandsire, who may not, it seems, walk for much longer among you. If not for the sake of the crown, and for the sake of this old man, who loves you all so dearly.
Is this it? That look? Alicent and Rhaenyra gonna get along?
I wish to raise my cup to Her Grace the Queen. I love my father, but I must admit that no one has stood more loyally by his side than his good wife.
Hey!
And for that, she has my gratitude. And my apology.
The ball is in your court.
I raise my cup to you and to your house. You will make a fine queen.
Hey, Otto is not too happy about that. Aegon downs it. Oh, Otto didn't.
I regret the disappointment you're soon to suffer.
And as men, I hope we may yet be friends and allies. To you and your family's good health, dear uncles.
Isn't that kind of the same thing, friends and allies?
It isn't so bad. Mostly he just ignores you. Except sometimes when he's drunk.
Oh, lovely.
Let us have some music.
Come on, they're having fun. Alicent have really poisoned her children. Like, the others are trying so hard. It's Aegon. I mean, the thing is, with Aegon, he doesn't give a shit. That's the thing about him. I think that's why Alicent doesn't like him all that much. It's because he's kind of like Rhaenyra, if you think about it, or Daemon. They just do what they want. Whereas Alicent is very much like about duty and honor and all that. I guess if you think about it in a way, He reminds her of her, you know? She's basically hiding all that stuff that he's doing, that she is mad at Rhaenyra for doing, you know what I mean? So, oh, is this it? I think this might be it for our king, our grandsire. These two are still dancing. Damn, that's a whole pig. Oh, wow, that took me a second. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, then.
Final tribute to the health of my nephews. Each of them handsome, wise, strong.
Amen.
Come. To these 3 strong boys.
I dare you to say that again.
Why? It was only a compliment. Do you not?
Come on, Jace. Oh. These little smiles that he gives. So he only picks from the little ones, I see.
It's best, I think, if we go back to Dragonstone.
You've only just arrived.
Oh, these two are actually getting together along.
Let me see the children home. I'll, return on Dragonback.
The king and I would both like that.
But the children, though. Yeah. Ooh, her. She's the spider in this one, right? Is that Damon? Oh.
Yes, lady.
That was that. I forgot her name. No, not Dan. Diana was that little girl. You know who I'm talking about. The girl from earlier who told the queen about Diana. You know, that is true. Whatever has happened, she does, I think, genuinely cares about the king, Viserys at least. Even his breathing, you know, sounds like a zombie.
If I believe it to be true.
Believe what to be true, my king?
Oh, don't you remember?
That was Rhaenyra. Yeah, that was Rhaenyra. Oh, she thinks this is Rhaenyra?
His dream, the Song of Ice and Fire. It is true. What he saw in the north, the prince that was promised.
No, you're not our son. It's not. Oh, she's gonna think it's our son. No.
To unite the realm against the cold and the dark. It is you. You are the one.
Whoa, what? Does she not know about... Well, that is actually kept very close. Air to air, right? That's how it goes. I don't think you do. And there's the dagger.
Oh, no more.
Is it the stranger? Oh no. That's quite an ending there. I think that means he is no more. Not sure though, but I'm fairly sure that's what that means. Okay. This is a pretty good episode. Before we jump into breaking it down though, if you want to see the full-length reaction to this and pretty much everything else that I do, all the other episodes, movies, all of that, it's available on my Patreon. Also, these videos go first on Patreon, then they come over to YouTube. Thank you so much, patrons, YouTube members, subscribers, all of you for supporting me all this time. And yeah, so a lot happened in this one. A lot of drama, a lot of politics, a lot of games. A new challenger came into the mix, although that challenger did not last too long. So let's start from the top. We started with Vaemond and Rhaenys talking about the succession, talking about Corlys. So Corlys might die very soon, or that's what I mean. If they're talking about successions and stuff like that, then his condition is such that he might not survive for too long. Now, the same thing happened to Viserys. His condition was such that we thought he wouldn't survive too long, but he's still here. Or so I think, or maybe not after this episode, but yeah, you know, so you never know. But he's not in a great condition. It's been 6 years. We learned that right from the get-go. Vaemond makes a case for himself because he's the true blood of the Velaryon, and as we all know, Jason, Luke, and Joffrey are not. They have Targaryen blood, but not Velaryon blood. Not. And so he says, well, blood, right? That's the case that he makes for himself. I have the pure blood. I'm true Velaryon, and because I am the only one, the second one after Corlys, since Corlys, you know, is going to pass, then I should be the next one to sit on the Driftmark throne, be Lord of the Tides. But the problem is that Lord Corlys wanted Lucerys to be the Lord of the Tides, and so Rhaenys reminds him of that, and then they talk about how the king no longer sits on the throne, it is the queen. And so then we learn later on what that means. The king's health has deteriorated a lot. He's basically a zombie. How is he alive? I'm glad he's alive, but at the same time, to see your parent or brother or husband or any loved one in that condition, that must be devastating. So in a way, I'm happy that he's still alive, but also I'm like, well, it's so painful, one for him, and second for everybody else that love him, to see him in this condition. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Am I saying that I would rather him be dead than alive? I don't think so, but it sounds like it, don't you think? Regardless, Daemon and Rhaenyra makes their way to King's Landing to see meet with the king, to get the news about Lord Corlys, the sea snake, and his health as well. So they're going to make petitions for the position. And so they make their way to King's Landing. They're greeted there by, I forget his name, that bald dude from the other episode when Rhaenyra was getting birth and she was going up the stairs and that dude meets her there. That dude. And no one else. Not the queen, not the king, not the princess and princesses and all the good stuff. Right there is a pretty clear message of what Alicent and company intends. Alicent and Vaemond throughout this time has been going back and forth, we can assume, because, well, one, Vaemond mentions that there is no longer the king on the throne, there's a queen. And also then later on in the council, we see Otto, Alicent, and Vaemond there, and the king obviously is making decisions that they don't want. He's making decisions that are pretty much going against what they want. He's obviously in favor of Rhaenyra and her children, whether they might be or might not be Laenor's children. They are Rhaenyra's children, that's for sure. Another thing that is to be noted is that when Vaemond is coming in, the guards around him, they have sigils of House Hightower, you know, the flame on the high tower. So that's another sign right there that those two houses have aligned forces and they are working together. I love Daemon throughout this episode. He's just himself. He's just so careless. His little smiles and smirks that he does when people are talking, you know, in like complicated language when they're not speaking plainly. He's like, bro, come on. We all know what you're saying. Like, shut up. And he calls out the queen as well for not attending to them when they arrived. And that is when we see King Viserys and his health and how much he has worsened. He doesn't even recognize Rhaenyra and Daemon. When they meet him, they have to a couple of times tell him, hey, I'm Rhaenyra, your daughter. I'm Daemon, your brother. And then he's like, okay, cool. So the guy is like in a very bad shape, and you can see that as well. It's not just physical, it's also mental as well, because he keeps forgetting who's who. Something that happens towards the end, which I think is going to be very important, where he forgets who's who yet again. Alicent gets news of Aegon and what he is up to now, or rather what his penis is up to now. Aegon seems like the kind of character, and that's how he was in the previous one as well. He's kind of like Daemon in the way that he does not care all that much. He does what he wants. He's careless. He does not care for the throne. He doesn't want to challenge anyone. He has said it flat out to Alicent. He said it. I don't want the throne. I don't want to challenge Rhaenyra. I don't want to challenge her heirs. I don't want to challenge anyone. Just let me be. But Alicent has this idea in her mind that, well, you might not challenge her, but she will definitely challenge you by killing you, by existing simply. You are a threat to her, and therefore she will kill you, just like Otto told her. And so because of that, she's very harsh on Aegon. She is extremely harsh, actually. I mean, in this one, she actually pretty much says it. You are no son of mine. And I think the reason why she says that is because Aegon is doing things that Rhaenyra is doing. If you think about it, they're kind of similar in that way. Going around, sleeping around with servants, just doing whatever or whoever. You know, that's what Alicent thinks that Rhaenyra is doing. Although, if you think about it, Rhaenyra didn't really do that. Rhaenyra, from what I can tell, was just with one person. That was, I forgot his name, the strong dude. But that was outside of wedlock, right? Their marriage. So, and also, if you remember, there was that one scene where the Maester brings the moon tea to Rhaenyra, and she's told about them. Then she has to bring the moon tea to Aegon, or Diana rather. So she basically is doing all the things that she hates about Rhaenyra, and she's doing that to protect Aegon and, you know, the rumors and all that. So she is basically being made a hypocrite. She's doing the things that she hates about Rhaenyra, the things that is creating this civil war or whatever between these two families. And so that's why she hits Aegon. And honestly, if you're gonna rape people, I think you deserve a bit more than just one slap. So I'm kind of glad she does. I think she should have done more, but I don't think that is why she did it, which is kind of sad. I think the reason why she did it was because she realized that, ooh, I'm doing the very thing that I despise about Rhaenyra, do you know what I mean? Or my son, rather, is doing the very thing. Another thing we learned, Rhaenyra is currently pregnant, and she's had 2 more children. One is named Viserys, one is named Aegon. Aegon is the son of Alicent, so I thought she might not be too happy about that name being given to her son as well. That becomes quite confusing as well. But then there's Viserys as well. That's her father, and so I guess that makes sense. People do that often. Viserys Jr., do you know what I mean? Or the second or third or whatever. But then Aegon is also a name of their grandparents, great-grandparents, you know, so on and so forth. It's a very common name. We know a certain someone later in Game of Thrones as well, whose name is Aegon. We'll talk about that a little later on towards the end, because it becomes very important. So the petitions start finally for who's going to be the Lord of the Tides, Lord of the Driftmark, Lord of the whatever. And so they all make their cases, and then King Viserys, like a straight up G, or should I say Z, because he's a zombie. No, he makes his entrance. There's such a wholesome, heartwarming moment between him. The whole sequence was just, they smashed it when he's walking, kind of struggling, but he's keeping himself strong. He's a strong boy, you know, and he's walking up the stairs and he doesn't want anybody's help, and then his crown falls and Daemon comes and helps him, and he's like, come on bro, you've got this. And it's such a great moment. And then he sits on the throne and he puts the crown on his head, and in that moment it just makes you think that it could have been so much different. These two really care about each other. They love each other. We've seen these kind of moments before, but due to politics and just bullshit, really, they have fallen apart over time, and they've built somewhat resentment towards each other. But yeah, that sequence was just, it nearly made me cry. It made me so emotional. It was so well done. And so then he's like, all right, what are we talking about here? Corlys said Lucerys is going to be my heir. Okay, he's going to be the one, he's going to be the Lord. Why is this even happening? And if it is, then let's talk to the one person that matters here more than the others, which is Rhaenys. Why no one has asked her? And then Rhaenys comes in and she just says it like, yeah, that's what my husband wanted. That's what I want as well. I back him. You know, he's my husband. I'm here. Whatever he says, I back him. David, back him. Bend it like Beckham. And then Vaemond, you know, pulls Sir Kristen Cole, gets very sour about it, and starts talking some stuff that is, even if it is not breaking the law, it's still things that you just shouldn't say. Like, it's just straight up mean. And Daemon, like a straight up G, just goes, no you don't. Gone. Dunzo. You just broke the law. He's just egging him on, at that point. He's like, go on, say it, you little. You know what I mean? And he's just waiting for him. And that's what I was saying in the previous one as well. With Damon on Rhaenyra's side, I doubt anyone would challenge Rhaenyra and her children's blood. And if they do, well, you will end up with 2 faces instead of 1. So that is put to rest. I thought there might be some sort of backlash from that side, but I don't think there will be, because Lord Corlys himself have very publicly said it. Everybody knows that he has said that, and also Rhaenys is throwing her support behind Jace and Luke, Rhaenyra's children, basically. So I don't think there will be any backlash from that side, the Valerians, basically those people on that side of the map. The king wants a dinner for the 2 families, bring them all together, and they have the dinner, and he, pretty much like he has said from the very first episode, he wants peace, he wants everybody to be together, he wants everybody to be peaceful, loving and caring towards each other. And he says that, he's like, come on man, this is my dying wish. I'm pretty much gone. Can you just give me that finally? And finally, he gets that. There's a little jabs thrown here and there from the kids, but you know, it's whatever. Generally, you know, Rhaenyra makes a toast, so does Alicent, and it seems like they're getting along really well, and it seems wholesome, it seems fun, and then the children take it a step too far, and something happens. Aemond gets up, he makes a toast, and very clever, very strategic. That guy looks very important to me. Though, first off, it's been 6 years, but it seems like he's grown by 20 years. Also, he looks like the Witcher from the Witcher video games. Geralt of Rivia from not the Netflix series, but the video game. And very cleverly wording, you know, insults. And he gets physical with the 2 strong boys as well. And as soon as Daemon gets up and confronts him, Aemond just walks away. Now, I don't think Aemond cannot take on Daemon, or Daemon's better or whatever. I don't know that. I don't, you know, that's not what I'm trying to say. But it seems like Aemond was okay with picking on the 2 strong boys, because they were, let's be honest, very little than them, and therefore not as strong despite what he calls them. But as soon as Daemon comes forward, he's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll walk away. So it seems like Aemond is quite clever, smart. He's picking his opponents well. He knows that Daemon, there's a very good chance that Daemon will fuck him up. So he steps aside and he says, all right, I'll walk away. Also, Aemond is one, and we saw this in the previous episode as well, he cares about tradition, he cares about family, and he cares about duty and honor and stuff like that. He's kind of like Alicent, so I think he will be a good player, I guess, in this game for Alicent, because he kind of, I think he gets it, whereas Aegon, I don't think that guy gets it. I think he, whether he gets it or not, he doesn't care. That's what I'm trying to say. And so that's why Alicent is not very happy with him. And she's just, whenever we see an exchange between Alicent and Aegon, she's always scolding him or hitting him or something like that. And that shows that Aegon might be a problem for Alicent in the long run. And that is a problem, because Aegon is, if Rhaenyra is not going to be the heir, then it's going to be Aegon, not Aemond, which I think is going to be a problem. It's like what they said, you know, whenever a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin. I think they've flipped a coin there. I think Aegon and Aemond both, I think the coins are being flipped there. They're both weird in different ways, but they're both like kind of out there, do you know what I mean? Like one thing's rape is okay, like that's, oh, it's harmless, do you know what I mean? And the other is just thinking about killing people and being physical, but like when he was a child, you know, he had the rock in his hand and he was talking about how he was gonna crush all the bastards and all that, you know what I mean? And there were little children that he was fighting with. And then there's a final interaction between Alicent and Rhaenyra where it seems like they're getting along, and Alicent's like, you know what, you just arrived, come on, just spend some more time with me. And Rhaenyra's like, you know what, all right, you're right, let me drop my kids off quickly on the back of my dragon, because they don't seem to be getting along, which honestly is your fault, Alicent. I mean, you did this to them. They were fine before. I mean, they weren't fine. They were obviously fighting, and the kids are going to fight. That's nothing new there. But now they literally hate each other, and that's because of you. That's because of you whispering, you know, this hatred in their ears. And then she's like, I'll be back, and we can then talk and be like old times. You know, they were really good friends, and they've fallen apart. Well, they've really fallen apart. And then Viserys is taken to his bed, and there he starts talking to Alicent, thinking she's Rhaenyra. Says, you know how you asked me about the Song of Ice and Fire? And she's like, well, what are you talking about? I never asked you about that. That's true, she never did. It was Rhaenyra. So again, that's his mental capacity kind of fading away. And then he talks about Aegon and how he believed the prophecy and the prince that was promised. And I believe, and they've mentioned this before as well, is passed from prince to prince or prince to prince, basically heir to heir, I should say. And so I don't think a lot of people know about it. And so that's why Alicent does not know about it, and she takes it in a different way. She's like, I understand. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. She takes it as he's talking about Prince Aegon, their child, being the one that is the prince that is promised. He's the one, and it must be done, and you have to make it happen. She's like, I understand. And in that moment, I just think back to that moment where Alicent and Rhaenyra got along, and I'm like, well, they just started to get along, and now I don't think they're going to get along very much, because now she thinks Aegon is the prince that was promised, and he's supposed to be on the throne, not Rhaenyra, and that is going to be a problem yet again. We're going to reset all the progress we made at the dinner table. So while Viserys made huge decisions that were in favor of Rhaenyra, he made one little tiny mistake there at the end, and I think that is going to further break the families apart. We also see, I forgot her name, but the lady that was with Daemon, the lady under the sheets with Daemon. She's it's good to see, because one, she's alive. Two, she's not just alive, she is thriving. She's doing really well. And third, she still got her position as the spider or the whisper, whatever, you know that. That's very good to see. Another important detail to note was this whole time Alicent has the 7-pointed star, which is the symbol of the faith of the seven, and they also have symbols of the faith around, you know, the King's Landing, and particularly in the castle, particularly the star. And if you recall the events that happened in Game of Thrones, the faith is very much against the actions that Rhaenyra is taking. So bastards, sex outside of your marriage, illegitimate children, which is bastards, you know, stuff like that, that is not accepted. Being gay, right? That's Laenor. Stuff like that, that is very much not accepted in the faith of the seven. So Alicent being more accepting of the faith and allowing it into their home and embracing it, I think that might not just be a thing like she's faithful or that's her religion or whatever. I think it might be a political play as well. You know, that might be a move against Rhaenyra to weaken her, because now she has more people on her side saying, look, these things are not allowed, what you're doing. Marrying your uncle, incest, right? I don't think they would be in favor of that either. That's another play I think that she's making. And not only that, but she's removing the Targaryen stuff, which honestly I think is going to backfire, because the only reason the High Towers are in any sort of power or even in the conversation of being on the throne is because of the Targaryens. So if you undermine the Targaryen name, I don't think that's going to work out too well for you. But yeah, the game has begun. Well, it had begun a long time ago, but things are getting very interesting. What will happen the next few episodes? Did Viserys die there at the end? It seemed like he died. He said no more, and he was crying as well, and he was very much struggling. I think he might have, and I think we might open, much like that other episode, the next episode might open on Viserys' funeral. But yeah, do let me know what you thought of this episode. It was a very interesting episode. This was my breakdown, sort of review, sort of discussion of this episode. Thank you for watching this video. Do drop a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, have a nice